Street, so I hopefully say something not very offensive and on message. The first thing I want to say, as a member of Hong Kong Watch with Ben and Johnny and others, we've been working tirelessly to get this amendment over the line. And we've done so on the basis, and a very simple basis, that the British government has a legal, a moral and a historic responsibility to the people of Hong Kong. Fundamentally, we believe that a child born before 1997 in Kowloon should have the same responsibilities and rights as a child born in Kent before 1997. And that is really what we are asking for, that the government take responsibility for the people that it has responsibility for. And that is why we work in Brussels, we work in Washington DC, we work in Canberra and in Ottawa and around the world, pushing governments to help young Hong Kongers who are increasingly facing jail and persecution at the hands of the national security law. Now, we all know what has happened historically, and historically speaking, it is very clear. In 1997, we handed over Hong Kong and the Hong Kongers in Hong Kong to an authoritarian government. We did so without a bullet fired or a ballot cast. And we did so on the basis, to quote Percy Craddock, Margaret Thatcher's foreign policy advisor at the time, that the Chinese Communist Party were gangsters, but they were gangsters we can work with. But clearly in the last year, one part of that statement still remains true. Now, losing my place. But I think, as some people are aware, that the British government did not do the same as Portugal did in Macau. We didn't offer everybody citizenship. Instead, we gave a B&O passport and a flimsy promise that if something happened one day, we wouldn't walk on the other side of the road. Well, something terrible is happening in Hong Kong on a daily basis, whether it's the crushing of a free press, the jailing of opposition leaders, the clamping down on civil society, and the undermining of the independence of the judiciary. And there must be a response. At the bare minimum, this government should guarantee that every Hong Konger that wants to live in a free, open and democratic society and not have their children brainwashed by the Chinese Communist Party should have that opportunity here in the UK and in other Western countries abroad. Now, I was asked recently by a good friend of mine, a man who's here today, who's been very prominent in this movement, why I'm interested personally in the pro-democracy movement. He said, you know, Sam, why are you doing this? You know, you could be doing other things, you could be lobbying for a public affairs company, you could still be working in Parliament, long hours, not much pay, not much fun. And I think the answer to that really is two parts. One, I'm Jewish, and I know as a Jew what it means to lose your homeland. I know what it means to be kicked out of every place we were ever in, to have to come to a foreign land and work again and start again. But I also know 3 generations later from my own grandparents that you can prosper, that you can be in every echelon of society. And I know in a few short years, the best politicians, the best lawyers, the best journalists will all have come from Hong Kong. I have no doubt about that whatsoever. The second thing, more broadly speaking, is that democracy is in crisis. We see it being rolled back in Eastern Europe and in America and all over the world. There's now a struggle between the Chinese Communist Party that claims they have some form of democracy without free elections and the rest of the world. And in that struggle, we need people who believe in democracy, who believe in the rule of law, who believe in freedom and are willing to fight for it. And that's why fundamentally we stand with Hong Kong, we stand with Hong Kongers, and whatever happens tomorrow, we will make sure that young Hong Kongers who cannot qualify for the B&O scheme will not be forgotten, and we will make sure that if the British government doesn't recognise them, other governments will as well. Thank you for your time. Thank you very much.